You don't know that. That's all, dude. That sounds crazy. All right, Shalom, Israel, Yahweh, Shem, Yahshua, Thumb, Yahweh, Shamar, Latham, Hashem, Yahushua. Preaching episode 1000, Yadai, I'm covering for episode 1000, Malakia. We got preaching episode 1000, bars all recall. And this is the Sabbath service. Now, understand this, Israel. The Sabbath service is important, man, because this is a high holy day of the Most High. Everybody is so infatuated with Esau's holidays. They're infatuated with Christmas. Labor Day is coming up. Thanksgiving, which is the mass genocide of our First Nation brothers and sisters. We got to cut all of them holidays out and come back to what the Lord told us to celebrate as the Passover. We have the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets coming up, and the Day of Atonement and other feast days. Right. You have to understand that this right here is important and beneficial for all Blacks, Hispanics, and First Nation men and women. And it's essential for us to come back to our identity, our culture. And it's something that the Lord gave us. The heathens can't lay claim, you know what I mean, to the customs that we have in our culture and our high holy days and our God, because they have no claim to it. The Lord said that he only knew us. That's in the book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 1 through 3. The Lord only knew us. So guess what? Now is the time for us to take our customs back and to take our culture back and do what we're doing right now, and by observing the Lord's Sabbath day. You want to bring something out, bars up?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely what Officer Guy was saying. This is a key ingredient, you understand, the Sabbath class.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord said to keep this holy for reasons, again, so we can connect back to our traditions. The Lord wants us to be holy in Deuteronomy 7:6, man. Being separate is not, going your own way. Being separate, is separate, realizing that you are not like everybody else. Zephaniah says 2 and 1, Zephaniah 2 and 1 says, gather yourselves together. Those separate people get together, gather yourselves together. This is a tradition, This don't belong to everybody else. Blacks, so-called blacks, Latinos, First Nation men and women, this is your tradition, you understand? This is your origin. This is something that we should acknowledge every day. And until Christ comes back, and sets the establishment and the rulership and the kingdom here on earth, we won't continue to suffer for the lack of knowledge thereof, man. This is the traditional Sabbath service that blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans should keep. And again, we're going to take back the culture, you understand, by living it. And that's the only way in America that we will be able to successfully, prove to the Most High God that we are willing to change our lives, you understand, so we can be better people, so we can really live up to these scriptures and be that holy people that we're talking about. It's a lot.
Right, Most High Christ. All right, with that being said, I'm going to put up here, Majid.
Abad Haya, Ban Bunyanyan, Ban Yashral.
Abad Haya, Ban Bunyanyan, Ban Yashral.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Brakatham.
Yahweh Shem Yahushua Brakatham.
La Yashral, which means to Israel.
Bajan. Palm off the dumbest, we turn to face the east. We'll do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. What is
As the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew, repeat after me. Abanah.
Abanah.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Kodash.
Hayah.
Shamka. Yahweh. Malakavka. Taba'ah. Batazayaka. Hayah. I.S.U.P.K. Baratazah. Kowo. Hayah. Ashamayim. Ladananawa. Lakam. Kam. Yowam. Wasalaknawa. Kabawaknawa. Wasalaknawa. Kabawaknawa. Wala'ah. Wabi'ayanawa. Wanisaya one. Abod. Awashayanawa. Mayan. Rad. Kaya. Look up. Amalakwa. Wala'ala. Watapara. Lamalaya. Amen. We said in English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the prayer for the power of the Hakak. Yahweh.
Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Abakashor. Ladananawa. Haka. La'apaha. Makal Makawa. Haka. La'Tahor. Amatazariah. Haka. Hamafi. Haka. Arakawa. Hamatala Allah. Lagar Shud. Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Wa'alamun. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. All manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
It's the prayer to bless Israel in Hebrew. Yahweh.
Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Barak Lanawa. Wayashua. Wayabaya. Sopori. Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Wa'alamun. Pray to bless Israel. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. Bless us. And Israel. And the school. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
It's a prayer for the blessings in Hebrew. Barak atah Yahweh.
Wayahusha. Wamayaka Allah. Wa'alahayim. Watazaba'ah. Alawak Yahanna. Wahalawapyim. Asurayyim. Apatazayoyim. Akahayoyim. Wahagwapyim. Yahweh. Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Wa'alamun. We said what? Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahushua. And Michael. And the angels. Commanding General Yahanna. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
It's a prayer. It's like it is Psalm 121 in Hebrew. I.S.U.P.K.
Ayunya. Ahahorim. Mahayun. Yaba'ah. Izoria. Ma'ayin. Yahweh. I.S.U.P.K. Shemayim. Aratazah. Ayatun. Namawat. Regalka. Al-Yanawam. Kamoraka. Hanala'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashun, Shawamor, Yashua Allah, Ya'awah, Saboraka, Ya'awah, Zalka, Al-Yad, Yum-Yum-Ka, Yawawam, Hashemat, La'ah, Yakaika, Wayarak, Layalak, Ya'awah, Yashamoraka, Makarai, Yashamor, Afnapashka, Yahawah, Yashamor, Yazaibka, Wawaibka, Waitad, Wa'aidalalum. Psalms 121. I will lift up my eyes into the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore.
It's Psalms 83 in Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim. Al-Dalayamaka. Al-Dakarash. Al-Dashakwat. Kayahana. Awayabyaka. Yahamun. Yawun. La'ash. Al-Aimaka. Ariyamwa. Sawadat. Ayatat. Ya'aitazawar. Atazapawanyaka. Amorwa. Lakawa. Wakakyam. Wakalia. Wala'ah. Yashakor. Shum Yasha'ala. Iwada. Kayat. Ayatazawar. The book, the Kadwa, Al-Yakah, Warrior, La Karafwa, Alahayim, Alawum, Wayashamai, Alayum, Mawa'aba, Mahagori, the Bull, Wa'aimawan, Wa'aimalak, Arishat, Abyashabya, Gazawar, Gamashawar, Awarlah, Aimun, Ayawat, Zawat, Lapanyalawat, Salah, Aishalaham, Kamadyan, Kasayas, Sara'ah, Kayakyan, Manakal, Wayashwan, Ashanagwa, Ahayun, Arwa, Haywa, Lamun, Agadwa, Sayatadwa, Adwaya, Kaira, Kasabah, Wakasabah, Wakatazamana, Kanasiya Kunwa, Ashor, Amora, Arishat, Nanawa, Alahayum, Sayakunwa, Wakaukula, Wakwat, Wapanyaraka, Wadudwa, Nasa Iraka, Wapasa, Wapaka, Awalum, Mala'ah, Wanyahum, Malawab, Wayabakwashwa, Shamka, Ya'awah, Lapashwa, Wayabahaira, Wayabahaira, Wayabapadwa, Wayabapadwa, Abadahaira, Shamka, Ya'awah, Lapaka, Ayawan, Al-Kaharat. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
For lo, thy enemies make a tumult. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. thy hidden one.
They have consulted against thy hidden one.
They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom. The tabernacles of Edom. And the Ishmaelites of Moab. And the Hagarees. Gabal. And Ammon. And Amalek. The Philistines. With the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur is also abjoined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites. As to Sisera. As to Jabin. At the brook of Kishon. Which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb. And like Zeeb. Yea. All their princes. As Sabbath. And as Zamunah. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. Oh, my power. Make them like a wheel. As the stubble before the wind. As the fire burneth a wood. And as the flames set the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest. And make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame. That they may seek thy name. Oh, Yahweh. Let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish. That men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. Sorry. All right. You shot me. Let me see. Oh, man. We left off in Deuteronomy 21:17. You want to take it in the Hebrew part, though?
God. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21 and verse 18.
17.
Oh God, 17. Kaya Adar Ha Bakar it's like Ban Hashna Yakaya La my word Sha now Yum Bakal Ashor Wama Tiza La Ya Kawo Hana'a Ra'ash Ya Abba La Ya Ma Shamai Ma Sha Habakara. Verse 19. Kaya kawo. Wahao. Kaya Yahweh la Yash ban ma sanara na ma na ra ayan na shamai Bakwara la Bakwara Banara la Abayan Nabakwara Amor yes run as I thought nala Yashamai ala Yaham, verse 20. Natha Pakwa Ban Abayan Amar Taza Ya'an Athan La'a. It's like Allah. It's like Al na Kwaya. It's like I rock. It's like I rock. Na la'a. I rock. Ma man. It's like I'm run. Run by wa'ash manara ayan shamai bakwao na yan ra la. It's like it's like verse 21. Mahan How I was Shaya. I will run, but young. Na ma na ba I rock ha rock I sorry ha ride my paw rock my paw rock ba na cow wa shah Yashua Allah wa Yashamayam wa ya ra verse 22 nakaya ya haya ba yash kapar masha pot my rock my wife I tizah la ya na ba dun ha I tizah ya kwa ba now the quab ra night na ya by ha ne ya kaya kala hayam la nawa na la the my ra my done verse so again Ashur Yahweh Allah Hayaka Ma Slaki Nathan La Slaki La Da Kadalaha verse 22. La'ah. La'ah.
I think that's 23. 21, 23. Yeah. Oh, you stopped at 23. Mm-hmm.
It's like Yash. This verse 20. It's like Nakaya Nakawa Ya Haya Yash Hama'ad Ma Sha Kwa Ya Kwa Na Kaya, na, Yahaya, ma, Natala, ya, Athan, we break that.
I got it. I bet.
La'a, Dala'aya, Dala'ayan, Da, like ma, ba, la, thun, ow, ha, I, Tizah, ba, ya, ba, ya, da, bar, la, lun, wa, na, the, so like it, na, kaya, la, ala, hayam, da, la, na, I'll like it, da, na, la, da, sa, ana, dan, ashor, Yahweh, ala, yam, la, baha, it's like bakala, I.
That's it.
Right.
Most High in Christ. Yo, man, James, can you pick it up? Deuteronomy 21 and start at verse 17.
Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 17. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hatred for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he had.
Mm-hmm.
For he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his.
That's right. Now, as we read last week, you know what I mean? You can't, because you mad at your other rib. You know, we went over last week. You can't be upset with your other rib, especially, you know what I mean, if she bore you your first son and say, you know what, I'm going to give it, you know what I mean, to the son of the rib that is beloved. You can't do that. As we went over, you know, last week, it's important for us to understand, like, brothers, if you have wives, you have to love your wives. And sisters, you have to submit yourselves to your husbands. The problem is in our communities, you know what I mean, as Black and Hispanic and First Nation men and women, is that we hate each other so much over small things. Small things. You can't be that brother that's going to take your son's inheritance away because you think, you know what I mean, his mother is a dragon. Maybe she is, maybe she's not, or maybe you just can't stand her. And sis, y'all could be rough too with these brothers too. And that's a double street. But at the same time, we have to understand to get back to loving one another. Now it says, but he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he had. For he is the beginning of his strength and the right of the firstborn. He is the beginning of your strength and the right of the firstborn. I mean, he's the firstborn son. He's the firstborn son. He's the beginning of your strength. Even if you look at Reuben, our brothers, of the Seminole Indian. Even though, you know what I mean, he lost that right, for laying with his aunt, I believe it was. I believe Reuben was the one that laid in his father's bed. But Reuben, you know what I mean, it says that he is the excellency of his father's strength. You know what I mean, Jacob's strength, that's Reuben. And, you can see it, with our Seminole Indian brothers and sisters, man. You know what I mean? They would have made, go ahead, sis.
What does it mean when you were saying that he is the beginning of his strength? What does that mean?
Meaning this.
Of his father's strength.
He's the beginning of his father's strength, meaning this. He's your firstborn. A lot of us, that have sons, your firstborn son is special because he is your firstborn. This is the beginning of your strength. an example to use. Let's see, who's a good example? Look at how David looked, even though I can't use that. I don't think David was the first. Solomon was the first person. Yeah, that's a good example. Look at David and Solomon. Look how David looked at Solomon and how David called Solomon Lord. You know what I mean? Because David understood who Solomon was. A lot of times when you look at your son, especially your firstborn son, you're looking, you know what I mean, at your forefather. And, and he's going to bring you back. And that's why it's important to understand that this is the beginning of your strength. And he is given the right, you know what I mean, of everything that he has, because he's going to bring you back sooner or later in what, the fourth generation? Now, if he's going to bring you back in the fourth generation, meaning at one point, you know what I mean, the role was reversed. He was looking at you the way you look at your son. You know what I'm saying, sis? Where he's the beginning, you know what I mean, of your strength. And he's supposed to get double portion. And he has the right of the firstborn because he's the firstborn son. Go ahead, Barton.
Hey, it's like, if I could, you know how the Lord operates. The Lord says, your child is, gets your inheritance, your firstborn. So whatever that you do, it's inherently to him. You know what I'm saying? That strength, that all that work that you put in, that strength, like we have the strength that it takes for you to go to your job, the strength that it takes for you to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, while we're here in the school, all that strength goes to your firstborn. Inherently, he's supposed to, get what you do. You understand? And Rob which is Reuben. You understand? In the scriptures was Jacob's firstborn. Jacob, all that strength he did, wrestled with angels and all kinds of stuff, later on. But, all the work that Jacob did, you understand? You think about it too, raising 12 sons, man. That's a lot of work for me to put in. After Rob, right after Reuben, man. Jacob, our forefather, has put in work. You understand? Has put in his brick. That's what we see here in I.S.U.P.K. You understand? He would be the strength. You understand? Reuben would be the strength. Just like you have your firstborn. If a brother, it's nothing against a daughter. You understand? You have a princess. That's your princess. You understand? Ain't nothing like your first boy when you a father, man. That right there it's a connection. Like how the Lord and Christ deal with each other, man. Christ is the Most High's, strength. You understand? And that's what he means by the strength. You understand? That'll go to him. It'll be a reflection of who his father is like.
Right. And what Barzal is bringing out is heavy, man. Your son is the reflection, you know what I mean, of your strength. And that's why it was also very dishonorable what Esau did.
Right.
Esau technically was the firstborn. Right. But however, with Esau was an evil, wicked bastard, and he hated his inheritance. Esau was going to inherit everything. He was going to be the one that was in charge. But the Lord, you know what I mean, came, you know what I mean, to Rebekah and told her, listen, the elder shall serve the younger.
Right.
And then if you go into the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, it tells you know what I mean, that Esau was a vessel made for dishonor, and we were that vessel that was made for honor. Another example would be, look at Ishmael and Isaac. Ishmael is older than Isaac. And that's where the Arabs come from. But he wasn't the begotten son. He wasn't the son that the Lord chose. That son was Isaac. And from Isaac, we get Jacob, and now we have us. Now, we have a duty right now to understand that if you have a firstborn son, even if it is of a woman that you cannot stand, you have to give that child his inheritance. And you got to give it to him double, because he is the beginning of your strength. The scriptures say, if you train a child up in a way that is right, he shall not depart. Meaning, if you train your first son up right and let him inherit everything, and he's a good brother, guess what? That's going to pass back on down to his children and his children. And then it's going to come back to you, because through him, you're going to come back.
Right.
I pray you understand. Read on.
I want to comment. Verse 18. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the
son that is stubborn and rebellious, which will not obey the voice of his father. Now, as I brought up, look at Esau. Esau was very stubborn. Esau was rough, as you can see through his behavior now. And understand this. Let's say you have a son that is rebellious, that don't want to listen to what you have to say, that thinks he knows it all. We all know a brother, or we all have a brother that is like that. That you can't tell him nothing because he feels as though he knows everything. That he's the smartest man in the room. That he doesn't have to heed to his father's instructions. Telling you, you know what, it's all right, Dad, it's all right. I can eat this pork. I can eat this shrimp. I can go out and lay with heathens. I can do whatever I want. I'm smarter than you. Read on.
Or the voice of his mother, and that when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto them.
Now, you try to chasten him, you try to, instruct him, you try to correct him, but he's still not trying to hear it. And here's the thing, too, we have to understand. Sometimes we have children that are like that. And especially those of us that are parents, if you have 6 children, you already know who your troublemaker is. Who's the one that's going to give you the most problems that you could just look and see. You know what I mean? Like I'm the youngest, of 5, of 6 children that my mother had. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be honest. You know what I mean? I know. I got a sister that's rough. You laughing, sis, but my mother will tell you, like, she's the one. You know what I mean? My mom always say, like, yo, she can't handle no funeral arrangement. She can't do this because she's out of control. A lot of us can tell, by looking at our children. It's not that you don't love them. Of course you try to chastise them. Of course you try to correct them. But sometimes they don't want to listen. Take it if you have a son, right? You and the truth. Let's say you have 3 sons, young man James, right? Now your oldest son and your second son, they might be down with you. You know what I mean? Kind out of one, kind they put on that all black. But your youngest son might be, man, I'm about to go out here and see what the world has to offer. I'm about to go do this. I'm about to go do that. Sometimes you have sons that are just rebellious. You know what I mean? You want to add to that, brother?
If I could, that's why the instructions, from these scriptures is supposed to help you deal with that. It's said, like, if he ain't listening to his mom, his pop, and he ain't even listening to his mom, you're supposed to chasten and chastise your children. Nowadays, you understand, it's like the children are raising the parents. It is also said in the scriptures, you understand, that the children will be the oppressor of, the parents. Paraphrase, man. That these children will be our oppressors. If you ain't raising your child right, then again, that's going to be a reflection on you. Traditionally, you understand, you're supposed to teach your children the traditions. So again, when they get older, they don't go too far away. You understand? They're not going to listen to what the world is trying to shove down their damn throats. These holidays, these weight lifestyles, these religions. You understand? If you instill in your child's head from a youth, I'm telling you, he or she may be able to, see these things and recognize these things. But what they're going to always remember is that my parents taught me another way. You understand? So it's the point of them having the able to choose. You understand what's right and what's wrong. They know what's right and what's wrong because, again, you're teaching your children what's right and what's wrong. You understand? It is not okay for our children to, go into the world and rely on the world, knowing what we know today. You understand? Sending out our children, for these educational, these educational systems to raise them up is a problem. These schools are not going to teach, you understand, our children what it is, our tradition. You understand? They don't got these in the curriculums. They're not going to teach your child that Christ is black. They're not going to teach you, understand, that, you have law, statutes, and commandments as a black, Latino, or Native. You understand? They're not going to tell you that. But these are the things that you're supposed to do. These are the things you're supposed to teach. Like Officer Yedai said, don't you tell your children this as a youngin', you understand, or young adults, or whatever the case may be. They're going to always remember this. They're not going to go too far away. You understand? It's a little better to be closer to home than to be stranded. You understand? At least if you're around the corner, you'll figure out your way to get home. It's a phrase that say a dog always knows their home, whatever the case may be, right? Hypothetically, for this purpose, let's just say this bones, you understand, it's these scriptures. You understand? The dog ain't gonna go too far from this, man. You understand? You raise your children up as a tradition that the Most High required. They gonna look at everything, out in the world like listen, I'm good. can't say this is impossible because there's brothers in this school that have been raised up since, born in this truth. You understand? And they look at the world and able to navigate through this wicked world. You understand? That does not make you, not in the world. It just makes you not of the world.
Right.
You understand? It's like,
Well, Barzal's bringing out is heavy, man. Read on, young man James.
Verse 19. Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him.
But that was like, because what does that mean? What does that mean? Your father lay hold. Your father and mother lay hold. Go ahead.
Kind of like a check, like a reality check. Lay into him.
You lay hold on somebody. You put your hand on somebody. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, if you discipline your children, they ready to call, all type of child services. You can't do nothing to your child. You understand? You got to let them choose what they want to do.
I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna bring something up that's just so heavy because I saw something the other day. It was this Edomite saying, this devil saying, if you spank your children, it's abuse. These parents are out here terrorizing their children. You're not supposed to spank your children on the leg or whatever. I'm like, this is a tap on the leg. I said, if that's the definition, my mother is a criminal. Right. Like my father's a terrorist. We all caught hell coming up. You know what I mean? If we even thought about doing the wrong thing, man. Nowadays, you can't even do that. Go ahead.
Go ahead, person. Now, take that, right? Now, how the Lord operates with us when we do wrong, I guess the Most High is, he should get child services called on him, how he did with Israel, huh? They don't make no sense, man. When you love someone, you correct them. You understand? Right. In this case right here, your children is out of line. That's your job to discipline them. You know what I'm saying? Right. They ain't saying that however you raise your children, don't, make sure they alive, whatever you do after the case is. But man, it ain't nothing like a whooping. You know what I'm saying? Right. We all know that it's supposed to have you think and remember, I'm not going to do this again. That's how the Lord dealt with us. The Lord will give you a whooping, you know what I'm saying, to where the next time you get in a situation, like, hold on, I don't want that checking no more, you know what I'm saying? I remember that pain, that correction pain, you understand? And that's how, we should deal with our children. Read on.
Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out unto the elders of his city and unto the gate of his place.
Oh man, now they bring you towards the elders and towards the gate. That's not a good sign if you bring forth before the Levites. I'm trying to tell you, that is not a good sign. Go ahead, Bob.
We got a question concerning Levites.
What is it? Go ahead.
Are tithes only paid to the Levites in the form of food?
Bring all the corn you got. Wow.
Oh man. I'm assuming this is the Old Testament Israelite. I'm assuming this is an Old Testament Israelite. Okay. I'm gonna give you the short version. Now, the priesthood now was under the priesthood of Melchizedek, meaning all the tribes, from Judah on down to Issachar, can be priests and prophets. You know what I'm saying? Now, as tithes being food, tithes is money. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to come in here and pay your tithes in corn or apples or food, you can do that too. You can do that as well. We take all forms of payment. But guess what? Tithes, it's also money. Now, if you want to pay your tithes in corn, fine. You want to convert, whatever, you make, into corn, go ahead, put it through. We'll take it. And here's the thing with that too, like if I could speak to the intention of that question. Because here's what I get from that. And maybe it's just me, Barzo. They be like, why we got to give you the money? Why we got to give the UPK the tithe money? But you know who never misses a payment from people like that? The weed man.
Right.
He never misses out. He'll rather not eat that same corn that he's trying to give us. He won't eat it if it comes between him and his weed. You know what else you won't do? You won't miss out on them payment for them whores that y'all pay for. And then on top of that, you know who else is more deserving of that good money? Creflo Dollar, because he needs that jet. Creflo needs the jet, young man James. Says TD Snakes, he needs that tithe money. Kenneth Copeland, he needs that. You give all them all of the money. And what do they do with it? Do you know where the tithes goes? The tithes goes back to Israel. The tithes make sure your rent is paid. The tithes make sure that your electric bill and that your water bill is paid. Now, if you want to come in and bring corn, we'll take it. We'll feed the people with that. But tithes is money. You got the precept?
Like I said, come if I could, right? Young man James, right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna remember your name, brother. This ain't personal. DeVell. Young man DeVell, right? Give me Proverbs, right? 3 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
You bringing corn to the priest. What is that going to do? You know what I'm saying? We're here to, you understand, bring up brothers from the conditions, brothers and sisters from the hellish conditions here in America. You understand? Bringing fruit to the priest is going to do what? You know what I'm saying? Like Officer United was saying, the priesthood consists of all 12 tribes. You know what I'm saying? The Old Testament Israelites believe in, the Old Testament. But, the New Testament, you understand, right? The New Testament, it talks about the time. It talks about the priesthood, you understand, being sent out here to bring back the lost sheep of Israel, man. You understand? What is that going to do to help build the nations? About bringing fruit. You understand? Young man DeVell, when you got it, you can read it.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 9.
Right.
Honor the Lord with thy substance.
Honor the Lord with thy substance, man. You honor the Most High with your substance. Meaning whatever it is that you get as a property, man, you make sure that you honor the Lord by presenting it to him, man. We say Most High in Christ here in the Israelite School U.K. We honor the Lord first with everything, whatever we do. You understand? You hear a brother say, hey, listen, man, I like that garment. You hear a brother say, Most High in Christ. You understand? We honor the Lord first with the substance, because without none of this, without us actually taking our tradition back and living how the Most High want us, we're not doing this on our own. We got all this information from the Most High. So we honor him by giving him the praise first for whatever substance he provides us. Read on.
And with the first fruit.
And with the first what?
First fruit.
And with the first fruits. What is your first fruits? Your first fruits is your check. You understand? Your first fruits. You don't complain when the oppressor takes the check, his taxes out. You understand? Before you get your money, the oppressor get his money off rip. You understand? That's his first fruits. You understand? Mm-hmm. The tithes is the Lord's first fruit. You understand? Whenever you get your check, the so-called oppressor, the so-called white man is going to take his taxes. You know what I'm saying? He wants his first fruits. But we refer to the Lord. The Lord wants his first fruits, which is the tithes, man. The 10% of your best increase, of your substance. Read on.
Of all thine increase.
Of all thine increase, man. Of that check. You understand? This is what? 10% of whatever you get.
Right.
You understand 10% is able to help a brother pay his bills. Right. Understand the economics in this Bible is to help blacks, Latinos, and First Nation men and women survive. You understand? Now, like obviously, as I was saying, bring the corn. You understand? But we need the money. You understand? We know that the money is a fixed area in the Israelite School U.K. It's the scriptures to tell you. You understand? You can't pay your landlord in corn. Go ahead and try to pay your landlord in corn. You understand? Go ahead and try to pay your landlord in corn and watermelon and whatever, lemongrass. You understand? He gonna look at you like you crazy. We got bills to pay. You understand? What am I going to do with this corn? The corn is not going to keep the lights on in the schools throughout this earth. You understand? Let's be logical here. You understand? The brother that asked that question, you understand? You just want to continue to study. You understand? Continue to tune into class and get the true breakdowns. You know what I mean? Spotty, sir.
Right. Yeah. Well, Barzal is bringing out this heavy, man. Listen, man, to that brother, like I said, if you want to bring corn, you know what I mean, like whatever 10% of your increase and convert it to corn, go ahead. We'll take it. We'll make sure, you know what I mean, our people eat. You got to understand these tithes go back out to our people.
Right.
But not your homosexual pastor spending it on all the cocaine on a brand new fancy building. You know what I mean? And here's the sad thing about it. Here is the sad thing. The tithes are supposed to go, you know what I mean, to our brothers and sisters that are in need. Are you aware during like ancient times, we didn't necessarily have like homelessness. You know what I mean? We have laws to prevent that. The priests, you know what I mean, of the Lord made sure, you know what I mean, that no one in Israel was out here starving and hungry and suffering. But your pastor and your imam, they will make it so. They don't give a damn. So before you can come and say, well, why we got to give, you know what I mean, all the money to you? Let me ask you a question. Do you go out there and question your pastor in that same manner? Do you go out there and question, you know what I mean, these fake Israelites? You know, some of them fake Israelite groups had a Passover, and they was talking about $1,000 to $5,000 to attend.
Good.
Yeah. And guess what? Young man Jehudi, they wasn't taking corn. Wasn't taking corn to get that. Read on, young man James. Deuteronomy 21 and 20.
And they shall say unto the elders of his city, this is our son, is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice.
Mm-hmm.
He is a glutton and a drunkard.
He's a glutton and a drunkard. What's a glutton? Somebody that's a glutton, you know? Go ahead, sis. She ain't came up
A greedy person, whether it's food or material things,
Mm-hmm.
like having things in excess,
Yeah.
or having more than what you need.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. That is a glutton. Someone that just has to have everything. He got to have everything. And a drunkard. Ain't nothing wrong with drinking some strong or some wine, but goddamn, you're not supposed to be a drunkard. You shaming the Most High. You shaming your parents by being like this. Read on.
Come. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stoning.
Sheesh, read that again.
And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones,
Mm-hmm.
that he die.
And he died. Now, are we doing this today? Nope. That's a rough one, ain't it? That's for being a disobedient bastard, being a gluttonous, and being, you know what I mean, a drunkard. You will be stoned for that. Disobeying your parents, man, wanting everything in the world, thinking you entitled to everything and being a drunkard. You know what I mean? Them Levites will come out there and stone you to death. I pray you understand. And you know what's heavy about it though, Barzal? Well, when I look at this and I read this scripture, right? And it just makes me very appreciative, you know what I mean, of our King, Yahawashi, because Christ died so that wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? The priest ain't coming to your door and stoning your son for being an evil bastard. Christ died, and I used the analogy, right, of the sons earlier, and I'll break it down to y'all the same way it was broken down to me. When I was a young man, I was watching Cross the Line radio, and General Hyman gave the greatest breakdown of John 3:16 I ever heard in my life. I've never heard it broken down like this. Imagine you have three sons. Your firstborn and your second, they are just monsters. They are evil bastards. They out here, they rough. They rough. They AR and dark low. Yeah, they rough. But your youngest son, he's perfect. He listens and obeys everything that you tell him. Now imagine this. You sit your firstborn and your secondborn son down. And you're like, y'all little niggas have just been evil. Y'all just evil little monsters. You see your son, your brother right here? Your brother is perfect. He obeys everything I tell him to do. And that father takes a knife and he slits the throat of that perfect child that he has. And to the horror of the firstborn and the secondborn, they're like, yo, that should have been us. We should have died. Why are you doing that to our brother? And then explain to your sons that your brother died so you two could get your life together. Christ died so you can come off of weed, so you can stop being a glutton, so you can stop being a whore and a whoremonger, so you can stop being, you know what I mean, an evil monster. Understand that. How can you go now and do these wicked things, knowing that our King died to give us that second chance. Right. Now the priest ain't coming to your door, because you best believe, right? You better believe. Take Dwayne Wade and his son, and that's his son. That can't happen in the kingdom. Because as soon as his son thinks it, I.S.U.P.K is going to appear in that room. And it's over. It's a wrap. I.S.U.P.K is going to appear, and that's going to be the end of that. You want to be a drunkard or a whoremonger or a gluttonous, you're going to be in a back alley somewhere, and bars all going to be waiting for you. You know what I mean? And that's going to be it. Now, we're not in the kingdom, and we're not in old times neither. This is now. This time right here is the opportunity to get yourself together. And it is a long process. It is a struggle, but you have to try. You have to be willing to say, listen, I'm a drunkard. I'm a whore. I'm a whoremonger. I'm an evil bastard. I'm a murderer. Now is my time to change. Because if you don't, guess what? You are going to die a horrifying death. You are. You want to die a horrifying death. Our people are scared of things like the vaccine. You scared of, 5G. But meanwhile, you stand in front of the microwave waiting for your food, to get done. But that give off more radiation than that tower that y'all claim, is giving everybody COVID, that the oppressor is trying to kill everybody through that type of form. When you need to be afraid of the Most High. Right. Because this time you have right now, do not take it for granted. And a lot of our people do that. You take this grace for granted because this is the period that Christ gave us, which is grace, to get your life together. If you owe Pico like me, guess what? You call them up and you say, listen, I need a period right now, a grace period to get my life together. This is that time to take that evil from among you. Now, you see how it says that he shall be stoned with stones, that he shall die, and so shall they put evil away from among you, and Israel shall hear and fear. Now you don't have to put that evil from among you by killing you. That's what Christ died for. Christ became that sacrifice for us. Now we don't have to be stoned because he died for us. But don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted. I.S.U.P.K, could you give me in Hebrews where it says you sin willfully? If you sin willfully, y'all get that for sure? Because a lot of our people don't understand that. What's another point I wanted to make? Oh, that's what it is. Lil Nas X. That ain't gonna happen in the kingdom. I pray you understand. That is not going to stand. It is not going to fly. Right. Talking about I want to get up here, and the shame that he does his father. And his father approves the same way how Dwayne Wade's father approves of him. Well, there's going to come a time in that kingdom that if Lil Nas X wants to try it, he's going to try to walk up to that stage and dance naked in front of children, and he is going to get chopped to pieces by Hawar before he can know what happened. I pray you understand. You got what I asked for right back?
God. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, and verse 26. For if we sin willfully.
If you sin willfully, if you go out there and sin willfully, after you done heard, the truth, now that you know, and there's the thing too, a lot of our people had no idea, and that's all right. That's not going to be held against you. It's not going to be held against you, but you better believe if you sin willfully, after finding out that you are an Israelite, after finding out that we still have laws, statutes, and commandments and customs that we have to live by, if you sin willfully, read on.
After that we have received the knowledge of the truth.
After you have received the knowledge of the truth, read on.
There remaineth no more sacrifice for sin.
There remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. Meaning Christ ain't going to get on that cross and die for you again.
Right.
No. He's not going to get up and die for you again. That ain't going to happen. That is not how this works. Right. Don't squander this opportunity. Don't take it for granted. The priest may not be coming and knocking down your door and stoning you to death now, but you better believe there is going to be a punishment for the evil that you continue to do. Right. There's going to be a punishment. I pray you understand. Right. Why not change? Why is change taboo, Marco? Like, why is changing the hardest thing to do? Like, that's one thing I would love to ask. Like, it don't even seem like our people don't even attempt or try it.
If I could, sir, why is changes requires you to look yourself in the mirror, realize you're disgusting. You know what I'm saying? Change is something that people don't want to lean onto, because you know what that means? I can't be wicked no more.
Right.
I can't, do what I want to do. I'm not allowed to make my decisions based upon my emotions. You understand? Change is supposed to help you grow. You understand? A lot of people don't want to grow.
Yeah. Man, that's rough. You don't want to grow? You don't want to be, and here's the thing, what people don't understand, they be like, well, y'all think y'all better than everybody else. You think you better than me. We just like you, and we've been there. And here's the thing, you can be better than you too. You ever think about that? You ever think about putting the weed down, putting the drugs down, putting the wine down, stop being an excessive drinker, don't be a drunkard, don't be a glutton.
Right.
You ever tried it? Because guess what? Tell me y'all wrote something down that was so heavy on Ask You the Prophet. Make sure y'all tune in to Ask You the Prophets every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. He said, why don't you just fake it? Fake it for 3 years. Fake being a righteous man and woman for 3 years. And then after that 3 years, you'll be like, damn, I can't fake it no more. I'm really righteous. Just fake it. Because guess what? Even with you faking, eventually that righteousness is going to overcome you. It's going to overcome you because you're going to have to fight one way or another.
Right.
You can't just sit back and observe and think you can have that pork sandwich in your hand, you know what I mean, and having a white girl on your lap and thinking you're going to make the kingdom. I'm trying to tell you, it ain't going to happen like that. That's to say, man, like Christ, even the Lord said, you know what I mean, in Proverbs, there's a way that seemeth right unto a man. All those wicked things seem right, but they're the ways of death.
Right.
I pray you understand. Any more on that, or that was it? Let's go back to Deuteronomy 21 and verse 22.
If a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and have hanged him on a tree.
Now, understand this. Said, if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree. Meaning, if you do something that's worthy of death, you are going to be put to death. And you're going to be hanged on a tree for an example. Where do you think the oppressor got that from? Where do you think the oppressor got it from? The oppressor understood something. Our enemies understand, you know what I mean, the Bible, and they know who we are. They do. That's why they hate us. That's why they hang us on trees. This is an example, you know what I mean, to all of Israel to let us know, you know what I mean, if somebody does something that's worthy of death, put him to death and hang him on a tree. And let it be known, this is what happens to child molesters. This is what happens to rapists. This is what happens, you know what I mean, to murderers. Because guess what? Here in America, there's really no punishment for that. Oh, am I shocking anybody? There's no repercussions for their actions. How do you know this? There's a devil, what's his name? Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse crossed state lines and went and killed 2 people. I believe he killed 2 other devils. And they allowed him to salute the police, and they ain't come get him till like 2 weeks later. And then after a month, he was out on bail. I mean, Dylan Roof, they're trying to postpone his death sentence as long as they can because they don't want to put that little devil to death. All he did was go kill Black and Hispanic men and women in the church. That's why they took him to Burger King. That's why Amber Geiger was hugged. That's why they played with her hair, because she killed a Haitian brother of the tribe of Levi, Botham Shem Jones, for just being in his apartment, not bothering nobody, just listening to his music and eating ice cream. Like, that's a death penalty. Don't you understand that these heathen hate us?
Right.
And they do everything in their power to show us. This is why it's important for us to understand that we cannot live like them. We cannot do the things that they do. Because guess what? And David said something that was heavy. You know what I mean? When David was numbering the people, He said, I would rather fall. I would not. He said, I don't want to fall in the hand of my enemies. I would rather fall into the hand of the Lord. Now, right now, you know what I mean? You got to understand. Our people right now are falling at the hand, you know what I mean, at the enemy. But here's the thing. You don't have to fall into the hand of the enemy or into the hand of the Lord if we do the right thing, if we obey the Most High. The Lord said he requires obedience from us. He doesn't take pleasure and joy, you know what I mean, in killing us. No. The Lord would rather us to obey. And that's the point, you know what I mean, of being a great father. And the Lord is that great father. He's our father. If you have children, you don't take joy in punishing your child. No. Sometimes it can hurt you more because that's your son. That's your daughter. But what your children don't realize is, and they'll realize it when they get a little older, is that you require of them obedience. It's better to obey. How do a lot of us learn? You know what I mean? Most of us in our communities. We learn from the pain and trauma of doing the wrong thing. And then when we try to pass it on down to our children, they look at us like, nah, you don't understand. That ain't going to happen to me. When we have first-hand experience, and experience sometimes can be the greatest teacher. But wouldn't it be better to not know, to not even go through that experience if you would have just obeyed in the first place? Go ahead, brother.
So in this instance, with Officer Yediah, we're talking about the scenario of obeying, right? Can anyone name what part, you understand, was there a case like this in the Bible where that, they got an order, you understand, but they did not do what the Lord said? You know what I mean, G?
The book of Jonah, he was supposed to go out and the name of the people he was supposed to go out. He gave him, Most High gave him order. He disobeyed that order, and he went through hell after that. And if he was just stuck to the Most High's plan, he wouldn't have went through that hell.
Man, you gonna wake up in a fish if you don't order, obey the Most High power, man. You gonna wake up in a situation you like, yo, I should have just listened. You understand? You don't want to be in a situation, that you put yourself in. All you have to really realize is like, most prisoners, they are in prison because they listen to their self, they listen to their emotions, and once they get them cuffs on them, you understand, they realize like, man, I should have just went home. You know what I'm saying? I should have just kept my mouth quiet. I should have put that pistol back in my car. You know what I'm saying? We sit here and listen to ourselves, and we're going to end up in a whole nother situation. What happened with Adam? That's what I was looking for. You understand? Because Adam was you gave a good example. But Adam, you understand, got the law first. You understand? Adam knew what was right and what was wrong before anybody. And you know what happened? He allowed, you understand, him being, weak, you understand, under the influence of his red to have him go astray. You understand? When the Lord said, you don't eat of this fruit. You don't eat of this tree. You do this. This is what you need to focus on. Do what I'm telling you to do. You understand? They say, you ever heard of the term curiosity kills the cat? I mean, it's you want to sit here and be curious, you're gonna end up hurt. As an order, so this is what the commandments are. They're orders. You understand? We follow orders here in the Israelite school I.S.U.P.K. You understand? Why? So it can help your life. Not help, you just individuals, but help the whole nation. You understand? We come together and complete these orders. That's what makes you a soldier. They're in the military, they give out orders. You understand? And that's why, they move in a militant state. The Most High is a general. You understand? He's the highest, he's the most high power. He give you an order really because he's trying to look out for you. But we so dumb, you understand? We want to do what we want, and then we end up in the fish. We'll end up in the whale. You understand? We're gonna end up, losing our position. That's what Adam caused. Adam had dominion over the whole world and lost that. You understand? Because we listen to ourselves. You understand? Instead of what the Lord tells us. You may, all right, now we know our brain may function. You may ask yourself certain questions. But wouldn't life be so much better if you just had a list of what you're supposed to do today? You go to your job, do you do what you want? No, you do what you're told to do. You understand? It's the same thing, way we should all look at it. You understand? We should all just do what the Lord tells us to do, and then, we be straight, man. It's a lot.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now, give me Ezekiel 33 and 11.
God.
Shalom, sir, Lord person. Love.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33 and verse 11. Say unto them,
all right, Lord person.
As I live, saith the Lord God, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked.
Read that again.
Say unto them, As I live, saith the Lord God, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked.
The Lord has no pleasure in the death from the wicked. I pray you understand. The Lord is saying he don't take pleasure in the death of the wicked. Read on.
But that the wicked turn from his way.
It turned from his what?
His way.
But when the wicked turn from his way, read on.
And live.
And what?
Live.
What is living according to God? What is living? Living is keeping the law. Living is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. That's the breath of life. That's in the book of Baruch 4:1. If you keep it, you come to life, and those that leave it shall die. And the Lord is saying he takes no pleasure in that. He takes no pleasure in our deaths, man. But when we turn from our wickedness, man, that's when the Lord rejoices, man. And not just the Lord, the angels rejoice when one sinner, when one wicked man or woman turns from their wickedness and come back to the Most High. Right. Understand that. Like I remember I was on Clubhouse and Los was on there saying, well, he's on there defending polite, talking about, well, the black woman is his God and she's giving him judgment. And the brother was trying to explain to him like, black woman is not God. That's not judgment. That's the Lord giving judgment. Los saying, well, I can't get down with a God that can do this to his people. And one brother was saying, well, you're not holding, the woman accountable, even if it is a false accusation. Here's the thing what stuck out to me. And it was deeper than that. When he said, I can't get down with a God that can do that can punish his people so harshly, I was like, you are either not a father or you are probably the worst father in the history of fathers. Because let me tell you this. If you, young man Jehudi, if you tell your son, that you're an elephant or, you're 8 feet tall, he's going to believe you. He's a child. Or if your child tells you something ridiculous, you'll laugh and correct him. Your child can't come to you, with heels on, or wearing, women's apparel, and you just laughing, going and blowing it off. Your son can't do that because you're going to correct him. And why do you correct your son? Because you love him. Right. The Lord punished us and corrected us because the Lord loves us. You know what the greatest attribute of our God is? People keep saying, oh, he's a great and terrible power, which he is. Like, oh, those was harsh punishments, what he did on how, he went about it. But you know what his greatest attribute is his mercy. God's mercy is greater than any attribute. That's his best attribute. Because the Lord was going to get rid of us on occasion. Right. The Lord told, and I need Akim and Akwapim, I need y'all to understand something. Because I thought about it. I remember when Captain Ahmad said it, and I was like, you know what, Cap, you right. That couldn't have been me. I couldn't have been Moses. Because when the Lord told Moses, look at these niggas, man. They out here making a golden calf to go back to Egypt after I parted the Red Sea. You know what, Moses, I'm going to make it. You know what, Masha, I'm going to make a nation out of you. I'm going to make a great nation out of you. And Moses said, Lord, please, Lord, please remember Abraham, remember Isaac, remember Jacob. Don't do it. Moses is better than me, boys, though. Because Howard, you'd have been your die, buddy, Howard died. James, you'd have been your die, buddy, Howard died. Sid, you'd have been your die, buddy, Howard died. Don't set me with a good time like that. We'd have all been your die. But Moses was like, Lord, please have mercy. And the Lord repented. The Lord had mercy on us. Believe it or not, the Lord still extends that mercy. The Lord told us in Jeremiah 17 and verse 4 that his anger would burn forever, that we would go back into captivity and serve our enemies. But in 1969, the Lord showed his mercy again by creating the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, man. That is the greatest attribute of our God. Everybody wants to talk about he's this, he's that. But our God is a merciful God. The fact that we're all here right now it's a miracle. For me to be sitting here in this seat right now, Ibadayah, is a miracle because I should be dead. We all should be dead for the things that we have done. Now the Lord is saying, read it again, Ibad, Ezekiel 33 and 11.
Oh God, this book of Ezekiel, chapter 33, verse 11. Say unto them, as I live, saith the Lord God, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked.
The Lord said, I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, man. Read on.
But that the wicked turn from his way and live. Turn ye from your evil ways. For why will ye die, O house of Israel?
Why will you die? The Lord is asking you, how would you want to die? And that's the thing. Our people have an infatuation with death and don't even understand it. You have no idea. Everybody that's jumping up on them crates doing that challenge, you just want to die.
Right.
You want to die. You do. You don't want to go get a vaccine that can save your life, but you'll run up across some crates. You'll do that. You'll do that. You'll put that weed and that crack to your mouth and kill yourself in them cigarettes. You'll go out there and assist and have sex with multiple men, risking disease. Same thing with brothers, going out here sleeping with this whore, that whore, and that whore, and that whore, and sleeping with other brothers and sisters, sleeping with other women. You'll go out there and risk AIDS and HIV and climb up on crates and kill yourself that way. But what you don't want to do, you don't want to live. You don't want to do what the Lord said to do. You want to say something, Barzell?
It's like, they roll up the weed while they on the crates, trying to walk up the crates, man. This is like, man, we just asking for it. At this point, like if we can't see blatantly that Israel just asks for, punishment. We in a condition where it's just like we jam up. We jam up, man. But it takes strong brothers like you, man, strong sisters like you to come and realize, like, you know what, the Lord ain't no joke. Everything that I went through, I was on the way to death. You understand? Them people rolling up marijuana on them crates don't believe they gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
The world, we don't believe we're gonna die. You understand? We believe that we're gonna be here for another 1,000 years. You understand? And we gonna get money and have sex with whores and we gonna smoke weed and walk on crates. We indestructible is what we think out here in the world. But the Lord, man, is, you know what I'm saying? Like, sadly, you don't take punishment in destroying the wicked. But if that's what has to happen, it has to happen. Some people got like a rock hard way. You know what I'm saying? We learned that it is mercy that was put on us, man. Thank the Most High for our mercy. We didn't do nothing miraculously to get here. We ain't figured nothing out to get here.
Right.
The Lord had mercy on us. You understand? We just recognized it. It's like,
Right. Most sound crazy. The Lord definitely had mercy on us. Real mercy. Don't y'all go out there doing that crate challenge anyway. I ain't gonna lie. Listen, I think I can do it. Person. But I'm not gonna do it because I ain't trying to die.
That's just something that's carnal. Don't go out there and do that. Don't go out there and shame the Lord and shame the school. Our enemies gonna be like, the Lord. You see, the Lord ain't with a war. He went up there and did the great challenge and fell.
He passed it, but he passed the great challenge.
Good. Now, go ahead. War, you had a question? Go ahead. You can read.
Lamentations 3 verse 33.
Mm-hmm.
For he doth not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men.
Read that again.
Lamentations 3:33. For he doth not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men.
Man, the Lord ain't doing this willingly. They act like our God just woke up one morning and said, you know what, I'm just going to punish my son. I'm going to punish Israel just to do it. No. Did you ever think maybe, just maybe? And you know what's so funny? This is just me personally. Like when I used to act up as a child and my father would punish me, I would be so astounded. Like I would be like trying to calculate in my mind, like, why is my father whooping my ass? I'm his son. Why is he doing this? This cruel man. Like I'm sitting there 7, 8 years old, like I thought this man loved me. But what you mean I can't? What you mean I can't paint his van? You know what I mean? What you mean I can't go out there and tear up the house and do whatever? He ain't do that willingly. He ain't just wake up one day, you know what I mean, and decide to just punish you just to punish you. No.
Right.
Maybe we did something. And what is that thing that we did? Following after the heathen, wanting to live like them and see what they got going on. As it says, for he doeth not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men. Meaning we deserve the punishment that we received, man. And that's what we have to understand. We did something. We disobeyed our Father, our God, man. Understand this. He's our God. Shema Yasha'ala Yahweh Alahayanahu Yahweh Akkad. Meaning our God is one God. He's our Father. He ain't everybody's Father. Ain't the Father of the. Go ahead, Ibahaya.
I just want to say Tom chapter 11:31, sir.
Most High Christ. After we read 23, clipping. Yeah, he's not everybody's Father, but he's our Father. And we got punished because we disobeyed him. And when they try to say, and I also want to put the depth to this, where they say, well, you know, the whole 12 tribes, they're all just black. They're all Judah. No. Let me tell you something. Our First Nation brothers and sisters and our so-called Hispanic, Latino brothers and sisters, they fit the same curses that we fit.
Right.
And to show you, let me give you an example of how the so-called Latino man and woman, Hispanic man and woman fit the descriptions of the curses and to prove that they're Israelites. The oppressor is about to fly in thousands, hundreds of thousands of Arabs, of Afghanis, and they are not going to go to concentration camps. They're not going to be living on bases, sleeping on concrete floors or drinking out the toilet. Their women are going to get molested. You want to know why? Because they're not the children of God. They're not going to do that to those people. But that Mexican man and woman, that Honduras man and woman, that Guatemalan man and woman, he can do that to them. He can murder 99 million of the First Nation man and woman and oppress our brothers and sisters. Why? Because we're God's chosen people. They're going to come over here and get a crown fried chicken selling lamb and rice. It's coming. But our brothers and sisters have to sleep on the floor in cages because they're God's chosen people. That's why it's important for us to gather ourselves together. It's time for the black man and woman and the so-called Latino man and woman and First Nation man and woman is to wake up and realize that we are the children of God, princes of the power. That's what Yasha'ala means. We're the princes of the power. And if you a sister, you a princess of the power. We have to understand that it's time for us to come together. And which is so heavy about it, right? You know, a lot of our people, we feel sympathy for every other nation and their plight, but our own. We do. You look at that fellow Latino man and woman and that fellow First Nation man and woman with hatred. But you'll look at our enemies who hate us, who are going to come over here and not, you $1 short, you're not getting that lamb and rice, you ain't going to get it. You ain't getting that chicken over rice if you $1 short or 50 cents short. But your brother and your sister who's in the same ghetto, same barrio, and same reservation as us,
This is why it's important for us that the Lord said, man, he does not take pleasure in the death of the wicked. Now is the time for us to turn from our wickedness, man. To turn from our wickedness and come into this truth. If you a young brother out there that's Latino, that's, First Nation or Black, guess what? There is a place for you. There is a place. And that place is the I.S.U.P.K. If you a sister, it's called the I.S.U.P.K. This is where it is. If you a brother, come in here and put on your all black, put them boots on, put on that war scar, put on that black headband. You a sister, dress in modest apparel, put on that dress. You don't have to show your thighs and hips and ass to everybody. You're not a whore. The scriptures say in Deuteronomy, the 23rd chapter, there shall be no whores of the daughters of Israel, and nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. Leave that for the heathens, man. Leave that for them. But as for us, we have a greater purpose on this earth, and that purpose is to serve and obey our God, Yahweh. That's what our purpose is, man. Our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach, did not die so we can continue to wander this earth and be wicked like the heathen. No, our King gave up his life so we could have life. Paraphrasing, you know what I mean, in Corinthians, where the first Adam was made a living soul. You know what I mean? Meaning, and the first Adam was made a living soul, and the second Adam was made a quickening spirit. Meaning, Adam was given life. Adam was given the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what I mean? He was given life, and Christ was given the ability to save life. And the fact that we here in these doors, and the fact that everybody is online tuning in, we are proof of that, man. And now is the time to continue, and strive and work for the kingdom, man, that our King is going to rule, that our God gave us. And with that being said, unless you want to break something out for us?
Oh, so I just want to elaborate off of a statement that you made, us serving our King, man, and Christ being that, sacrificial lamb, right? The Lord sent his son down here to show us how to live righteously. You understand? The Lord gave us a king, you understand, to observe, to see how we're gonna move, see how we should supposed to move. You understand? Because the Lord will make his presence through this earth, it's gonna be terrible. You understand? Right. So he sent a son, an example, you understand, on how we should live to be righteous. If we don't recognize, it's just like going to school. You go to school to listen to your teacher. Your teacher ain't there. You ain't learning. You understand? Right. We not realizing, you understand, the things that we doing wrong. We out here, we have no teacher. You understand? Except for priests and prophets of the Lord. You understand? Until Christ come back, we won't have the perfect example. You understand? Under the Most High Christ, it's like under the Most High, we will not have the perfect example. Christ walked the same earth that you walk, man. Right. We walk. You understand? Christ is here. You understand? And Christ was showing blacks and Latinos and First Nation men and women how we should operate. And look, all through the world, you understand? This grew to a nation of people. We all over the earth, man. You understand? It took one man, you understand, to lay out these traditions, show us how to move, and then look how we are able to govern the world because of this one brother. This one brother that the Lord has sent, man. He's able to show us how to govern the world. And if we're not here trying to govern the world, ain't no point in you being here, man. You understand? Right. You want to be Christian, you want to be, it's a church next door, Creflo Dollar churches everywhere all through this earth, man. It's, if you're not ready to be an example, you understand, to the next brother or sister, this is not the place for you. You understand? Right. We're here to uplift and liberate the blacks, Latinos, First Nation, man and woman. You understand? Just like Christ. Just like Christ. You got the same powers, man. You understand? The miracles, for you to be here like Officer Yediah said, it's a miracle. You understand? That is a miracle. You understand? The Lord allowed the young man, the young officers, the young men, troopers, Lord's allowed you make it to the officer test. You understand? You're going to realize that once we hit them streets, you understand, you're going to be performing performing miracles. You understand? And that's what the Most High requires from a Prince of Power. You understand? To be out here and boot up. You understand? Boot up. We can talk about what it is that whatever it is we want to do, but we need action. You understand? And that's what the Lord is, preserved for us, to put action on this earth, just like our it's like.
Son Christ. We left off in Deuteronomy 21 and 23. And with that being said, all right, Machi. Just a minute up here.
Come.
All right. Bahaya.
Come, sir.
Remember, again, this is your tradition. It's good to know, we talking to people all throughout the world. And once you leave these doors, you are a reflection of the Most High.
Right.
And this tradition ain't nothing like this. It's giving you identity, giving us our identity back. Again, just recognize, you are sitting here, you understand, to be an authority, to have dominion here on this earth.
Right.
It's a lot.
Right. Son Christ. All right, state you ready?
Kaukan. Ibahaya ban Yamin ban Yashua.
Ibahaya ban Banyamin ban Yasha'ala.
Yahweh Shemi Al-Shabbat.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Al-Shabbat.
La Yashal, which means to Israel.
Traditionally, what we do in the Sabbath service.
Right.
Again, if you need help, just let us know. We'll guide you through the process.
Right.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Barak Yah.
Amen. Is that Lord?
How about Shemi Habashah Rock? Yeah.
Son Christ.
Yahweh Shemi Yahushua Barak Yah.
Son Christ.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshua Yah.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshua Yah.
He saluted. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahshua Yah. All right, upon walk thumb, please turn to face the east. Margin sisters. What?
All right, we're going to send the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew and translate it to English. Repeat after me. Abanau.
Abanau.
Shabbat
Shemayim. Qudash. Ayah. Shavka. Yahweh. Malabaka. Taba'ah. Watazayaka. Ayah. Aisha.
Maharataza, Kawok, Hayat, Bashamaya, Lathananawa, Lakam, Kab, Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kabawak now, Kasalak now, Kabawak now, Wala'am, Labi'ai now, Bonasai one, Abor, Hawashaya now, Mayan, Ra, Kaya, Lakam, Amalakwa, Wala'ala, Al-Kapara, Lawalaya. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
The prayer for the power. Yahweh.
Bahashem Yahushua. Pray for the power. Yahweh. In the name Yahushua. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
It's a prayer to bless Israel in Hebrew. Barakatay Tzlaka. Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushua.
Barak Lanawa. Wayabaya. Sapari. Bahashem Yahushua. Wa'alaman. Yahweh. In the name Yahushua. Bless us. And Israel. And the school. In the name Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
This is the prayer for the blessings in Hebrew. Barakatay Yahweh.
Wayahusha. Wamayaka Allah. Wa'alahaya. Batazaba'a. Alawak Yahala. Mahalawapim. Hasuranium. Hakwatazayunion. Haikayunion. Wahapawapim. Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushua. Wa'alaman. Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahushua. And Michael. And the angels. Commanding General Yahanna. The generals. The captains. The officers. The troopers. And the sisters. Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
It's Psalm 121 in Hebrew.
I-S-U-P-K. Yashamor, Akdapashka, Yahweh, Yashamor, Taza'aka, Awa'aka, Wa'ita, I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
I will lift up my eyes unto the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord,
My help cometh from the Lord,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy
The
keeper.
Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee
The Lord shall preserve thee
from all evil.
from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in
from this time forth
from this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore.
Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Al-Tamayalika.
Al-Tamayalika.
Al-Zakarash.
Al-Zakarash.
Al-Tashakwat.
Al-Tashakwat. Al.
Kayahana.
Kayahana.
Awiyabika.
Awiyabika.
Yahabah.
Yahabah.
Yawad.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
Al-Aimaka.
Al-Aimaka. Yariyabwa.
Wariyabwa.
Sawadah.
Sawadah.
Wayatah.
Wayatah.
Ya'ai-Tazawah.
Al-Aitazawah.
Al-Tazapawanyaka.
Al-Tazapawanyaka.
Amorwa.
Amorwa.
Lakawa.
Lakawa. Manakakia.
Magauya.
Magauya.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yazakor.
Yazakor.
Shem Yashra Allah.
Shem Yashra Allah.
Ayada.
Ayada.
Naya.
Kaya.
Ya'ai-Tazawah.
Aitazawah.
Rabah.
Rabah.
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa.
Al-Yakad.
Al-Yakad.
Baryak.
Baryak.
Yakorakwa.
Yakoryatwa.
Alahayah.
Alahayah.
Alawam.
Alawam.
Wayashabai.
Wayashabai.
Alayam.
Ariyam.
Mala'abu.
Mala'abu.
Mahagori.
Mahagori.
Gabor.
Gabor.
Wa'aimawah.
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 Wa'aimallah.
Kalashah.
Kawashah.
Amyashabya.
Amyashabya.
Tazawar.
Tazawar.
Yamashawar.
Gamashawar.
Yalawah.
Number one.
Aibam.
I won.
Hayawah.
Hayawah.
Zarawah.
Zawad.
Labayalawah.
Labayalawah.
Salah.
Salah.
Aishalaham.
Aishalaham.
Kamadyan.
Kamadyan.
Kasayah.
Kasayah.
Sara'ah.
Sara'ah.
Hayabyan.
Hayabyan.
Malakaw.
Malakaw.
Wayashwad.
Wayashwad.
Yashamadwa.
Yashanadwa.
Ba'ayad.
Ba'ayad.
Ya'awah.
Yahweh.
Hayawah.
Hayawah.
Gabad.
Gabad.
Ladadma.
Wadadma.
Sayadabwa.
Sayadabwa.
Ladab Yaqwa.
Waryabwa.
Kaira.
Kaira.
Ashur.
Ashur.
Wakazabah.
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 Wakazatawanah.
Wakazatawanah.
Kaunasiyakabwa.
Kaunasiyakabwa.
Ashur.
Ashur. Amorwa.
Irishah.
Irishah.
Yalawah.
Yalawah. Ah.
Naqwa.
Naqwa.
Alahayim.
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 Sayadabwa.
Sayadabwa.
Wakagila.
Wakagila.
Wakwash.
Wakwash.
Wapayaraka.
Wapanyaraka.
Waradadma.
Waradadma.
Wasairaka.
That's the Irika.
Wabasa.
Wabasa.
Wapaka.
Wapaka.
Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Mala'ah.
Mala'ah.
Panyaham.
Panyaham.
Malawad.
Malawad.
Wayabakwash.
Wayabakwashwa.
Shanka.
Shanka. Yahweh. Labashwa.
Wayabahaywa.
Wayabahaywa.
Al-Ya'ai.
Al-Ya'ai.
Wayakapodwa.
Wayakapodwa.
Wayabadwa.
Wayabadwa.
Wayada'aywa.
Wayada'aywa.
Wayatah.
Wayatah.
Shanka.
Shanka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Labaka.
Labaka.
Al-Yawad.
Al-Yawad.
Al-Kaharatazah.
Al-Kaharatazah. Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
For lo,
For lo,
thy enemies make a tumult,
thy enemies make a tumult,
and they that hate thee
and they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people,
against thy people,
and consulted against thy hidden ones.
and consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
come,
come,
and let us cut them off
let us cut them off
from being a nation,
from being a nation,
that the name of Israel
that the name of Israel
may be no more in remembrance.
may no more remember.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are declared against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom,
the tabernacles of Edom,
the tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites
and the Israelites
of Moab,
of Moab,
and the Hagarenes,
and the Hagarenes,
Gabal,
the Lord,
and Ammon, and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
the Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Ashur is also abjoined with them.
Ashur is also joined with them.
They have opened the children of Lot.
They have opened the children of God.
Salah,
Salah,
do unto them
do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabez,
as to Jabez,
at the brook of Kishon,
and the brook of Esau,
which perished at Endor.
which perished in Rome.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb,
Make their nobles like Oreb,
and like Zeeb.
and like Seir.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes,
all their princes,
and Sabbath,
and Sabbath,
and as Zalmunna,
and Zalmunna,
who said,
said,
let us take to ourselves
let us take to ourselves
the houses of Yahweh
the houses of Yahweh
in possession.
in possession.
Oh, my power,
Oh, my power,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a word,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the sun before the wind,
as the fire burneth a wood,
as the fire burnt the wood,
and as the flames set the mountains on fire.
and as the flames set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them
So persecute them
with thy tempest,
with thy
and make them afraid
and make them afraid
with thy storm.
with thy sword.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with
that
shame,
they may seek thy name.
that they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh,
Oh, Yahweh,
let them be confounded
let them be confounded
and troubled forever.
and troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to shame
and perish,
and perish,
that they may know
that they may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name alone
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the Most High
art the Most High
over all the earth.
over all the earth.
Sorry, sisters, you shop. Please be seated. Men of Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Admanim Shabbat, Admajim, Barak,
Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Barakatah.
Yahshua. Sorry, turn to face sisters, Admajim. Men of Israel, we're going to give the sisters one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Admanim Shabbat, Admajim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alakad Ba'ashem Yahushua. Yahshua, service dismissed.
So we gonna send up the prayers, right? When we send up the prayers, we're gonna point to you. You wanna say your name 3 times. You know what I'm saying? man. Say your name 3 times, and then we're gonna move to the next person.
All right. So like y'all hold it. You want to be anointed? Kind of sweet. All right. Yabaraki Yahweh.
Yabaraki Yahweh.
Wayashamarka.
Wayashamarka.
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Al-Yaka.
Al-Yaka.
Wayakanka.
Wayakanka.
Yashar Yahweh.
Yashar Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Al-Yaka.
Al-Yaka.
Washamlaka.
Wayashamlaka.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapah.
Rapah.
Magun.
Magun.
Hagun.
Magun.
James.
The veil.
The veil.
The veil.
The veil.
The veil.
The veil.
Jehudi.
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 Hawar.
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 Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
The water Aman.
What a month.
Oh, sorry, correct. Sisters, you want to be anointed?
5.
Oh, he got anointed?
Hmm?
Your son got anointed?
No, he didn't put it.
He did?
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
Would you like?
Would you want him to get anointed?
Absolutely.
Oh, most high correct.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Most high correct. Most high correct. Amen. Up here, repeat after me. Yabaraki Yahweh.
Baraki Yahweh.
Wayashamarka.
Wayashamarka.
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Al-Yaka.
Al-Yaka.
Wayakanka.
Wayakanka.
Yashar Yahweh.
Yashar Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Al-Yaka.
Al-Yaka.
Washamlaka.
Wayashamlaka.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapah.
Rapah.
Magun.
Magun.
Hagun.
Magun.
Iban Hayah.
Iban Hayah.
Iban Hayah.
Iban Hayah.
Iban Hayah.
Iban Hayah.
Israel.
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 Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
The water Aman.
What a month.
We said was, may Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, shall bless, heal, shield, and protect. Brothers, you can take it. You can be seated. Sister, you want to be anointed? All right, all right, up here. Repeat after me.
Come.
Yabaraki Yahweh.
Yabaraki Yahweh.
Wayashamarka.
Wayashamarka.
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Al-Yaka.
Al-Yaka.
Wayakanka.
Wayakanka.
Yashar Yahweh.
Yashar Yahweh.
Panyawa.
Panyawa.
Al-Yaka.
Al-Yaka.
Washamlaka.
Wayashamlaka.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapah.
Rapah.
Magun.
Magun.
Hagun.
Hagun.
Sawanah.
Sawanah.
Sawanah. Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Ba'ashem Yahushua.
The water Aman.
What a month.
We say with me, Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, bless, heal, shield, and protect. Service dismissed.